Xaver Kitzinger aims to revolutionize coffee production. From planted seed to roasted bean, everything should remain in the hands of the producers. At the fair, he's trying to win over supporters.
Here we can get very close to the coffee experts and the consumers. It's just fun pouring the coffee and getting the feedback.
There's a bit of a backstory to how he got here. 4 years ago, Xaver discovered his passion for African coffee. Today, he's an expert on the subject. It takes 9 months before a crop can be harvested.
The main thing is to pick only the red buds. The greens should stay on. They need a few more days. That's why it has to be done by hand.
The Dukunde Kawa Coffee Cooperative is nestled in the hills of northern Rwanda. From here, Xaver exports coffee to Europe. He wants to vastly improve on the methods of big-name competitors. He and his business partner, Alan Mubiro, were roommates back in Berlin. Today, they're working to create better jobs for people in Rwanda.
Many of the young people are losing interest in engaging into coffee business because the incomes in the coffee business are too low. So it's our goal to change this narrative to make sure that coffee farmers and people who are involved in the coffee value chain earn better incomes, and that will attract young people to come back into coffee business.
While coffee farmers' wages have fallen in recent years, the coffee industry's sales have been increasing. Over the last 2 decades, companies have managed to find ways to sell coffee at ever higher prices, mainly in the form of capsules and pods. But wholesale prices have seen a drastic drop. Xaver and Alan want to make the coffee trade fairer. The Dukunde Kawa Coffee Cooperative is their ideal partner. The farmers here are independent entrepreneurs. The cooperative pays good prices and, a very special feature here, women reap a lot of the benefits. The workers meet once a week to discuss financial issues or work out how best to support each other. They also make crafts, which brings in extra income in addition to the coffee. Many of the older workers lived through the genocide in Rwanda 25 years ago, and many lost family members, land and work. United, they're working for a better future. Harvesting is a painstaking process. After the coffee cherries are picked, they have to be washed. The women in the cooperative earn twice as much as other coffee farmers in Rwanda. The profits are distributed evenly.
Okay, now we're going into a very important process where the beans are going to get out of the husks. The process is called pulping.
The red husks are used by the farmers as fertilizer.
This is where the coffee beans go after the cherry has been discarded and they've been washed and fermented. When they're wet, you can clearly see which beans are good and which aren't. And then they have to be sorted again by hand.
Angelique has developed her own coffee brand with Xaver and Alan, Angelique's Finest. The brand and the company both belong to the women in the cooperative. Next, the coffee beans have to dry, so they are spread out on wooden racks for at least 15 days. Xaver and Alan are breaking new ground as coffee traders in Rwanda, roasting the beans in the country of production rather than in Europe. In the coffee world, that is still a rare exception.
We're starting the roasting in-house. The beans are refined, roasted, packed, and prepared for export here in Kigali. We aren't sending any raw beans from Africa to Europe.
This way, the profits from the refining process stay in Rwanda. After all the manual processing, the roasted coffee is ready for export. It's available to buy in a German drugstore chain. A kilo costs at least 23 euros. The export of a high-quality finished product to Europe is a boon for the region. It creates new jobs and the profits stay in Africa. It's one way to combat poverty and economic migration. Making the transportation of coffee more environmentally friendly is a big goal, and nothing symbolizes that goal more than the Aventur. It's the key to achieving a truly sustainable product chain. Captain Joachim Ebeling has been ferrying goods across the oceans for many years. This time, it's 1,000 sacks of fair trade coffee from Central America.
What's great that I can participate in such a project. As a sailor, I have few opportunities to use my professional qualifications in meaningful projects. Normally, when I work on a ship, we're all burning heavy oil and carrying goods that I don't really want to transport. It's simply different here. That's why I'm so glad I can work here.
The Aventur transports its cargoes in the same way as our ancestors did. Nowadays, coffee normally arrives in Europe from the world's coffee-growing regions by container ship.
With the Aventur, we want to set an example and underscore that it's possible to transport cargo with low emissions. In addition, we want to question whether it's really necessary to ship so many goods halfway around the world just to consume them here, and whether we might be able to rethink it all and transport less.
Emission standards of the type on German roads are virtually non-existent at sea. Container ship transportation is very cheap, but extremely harmful to the environment. In addition to CO2, the world's merchant fleets emit huge clouds of nitrogen dioxide, particulate matter, soot, and sulfur dioxide. The environmental impact of a sailing freighter, on the other hand, is largely negligible.
We only use the engine when it's necessary to maneuver or for safety reasons. We do not use it to get somewhere faster. If there's no wind, we simply wait.
But a rethink is slowly getting underway. Wind power saves on expensive fuel. Researchers are looking for ways to combine both in hybrid vessels that will be able to sail in good winds and use their engine in calm conditions. The Aventur can transport 114 tons of cargo. On this run, it's mainly coffee and cocoa. Cornelius Bockermann, who launched the whole project, is here to welcome the crew. Without him, none of them would be here.
First of all, welcome you all back in Hamburg.
Bockermann spent his life at sea and has seen what burning heavy oil does to the environment. To change that, he founded the company Timber Coast.
We transport cleanly, and we treat everyone in this chain fairly. The farmers get a reasonable price, and by the way, the customers don't pay more than they do for coffee that comes by container ship. The price is the same, only the profits are not so big. That's clear. And everyone in the chain shoulders the cost equally, including the environmental aspect.
Hermann Pohlmann is one of the customers. He has ordered 20 tons of coffee from Mexico, mainly the Arabica variety, but also a few bags of Robusta. His company is called Taiki, a Japanese word that means community. German consumers deal directly with coffee farmers in Mexico, sharing responsibility for the harvest. Taike's payment policies are also unusual. The coffee farmers who work for the company receive their money in advance and get a higher rate than is paid for goods bearing the Fairtrade seal.
Okay, jetzt geht's los.
Taike imports 20 tons of coffee a year from 4 farmers and 1 cooperative in Mexico. It aims to double the amount each year. In 8 to 9 years, 500 small farmers in Mexico could supply coffee to 250,000 households in Germany.